Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we are looking at Aldnoah Zero, Season 1. Now, some of you are going to be saying, wait, don't you usually, Aaron, you usually review both seasons when they're already out because it's an older series. It came out in 2014, finished in 2015. Don't you review all of them together? Usually I would. Yes, usually I would. I would do that. But I want to tell you guys and girls a short story about Aldnoah Zero. So, and I'm going to probably shorten it to Zero because saying the whole title gets really old really fast for me. So, Zero was a show that I invested a lot of time into it originally. Like, the first several episodes I banged out really fast. But I think by episode maybe 6 or 7 was when I was getting really tired of the show. And it wasn't because it was badly done or anything like that. But I had watched other shows at the time, and I was like, okay, those shows are better. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I know they were better at the time. And I was watching those shows and enjoying those more. That I kind of put this series in the back burner. And it's not that it's a bad show by any means. Like I'm going to give you guys and girls my review, of course, and you're going to be like, oh, his score kind of goes against what he just said because it's not going to get the highest score ever, but it's not a bad show. It does a lot of things right, like the whole mecha concept, and I'll get more into that into detail after the story I'm about to tell you guys, but or at least finish. So I finally got around to watching this and finally finishing it 2 years later. Essentially, we're in 2016. I finally now finished season 1, mind you, because I have issues with it, and I'm going to get into those now with the review of it. So, Aldnoah Zero actually takes place in a alternative future of ours. So, in 1969, we actually end up finding the spacecraft, essentially, of some sort. We don't know exactly what it does, but we start messing with it and going, well, okay, let's do this, that, and we discover various other things about it. Now, fast forward to 2014, and we are already knowing that there's another group of people that exist on Mars. And we think, you know what? Let's make it so Mars and Earth finally get together, because prior to that, only several years ago, there were actually conflicts with Mars involving Earth, and we got into this whole huge thing. There was lots of fights going on, blah blah, and we don't want that to happen again. So we think, okay, you know what? Let's all team up. Let's make sure that we have a nice press conference, nice meeting. Kind of tie the knot and become friends rather than enemies. Now, in comes though our classes that are still taught. You have Inoue Kazuka, who is probably my biggest issue with this show. Inoue is easily the reason why the show took so long, and I'll get more into him later on. And you have various other characters that are introduced, like Slane, the Princess of Mars, and we end up finding out that behind the scenes of Mars pretending that they want to, tie the knot and become friends, there's actually other forces in play that actually want to destroy the Earth and just take it over for their own goals, and are going to use that kind of press conference and all that stuff to actually create a giant stir of anarchy and chaos among the crowd of the Earth, which, by the way, Earthlings in the show are called Terrans. Now, the show does a lot of things right. Once again, I love the mecha concepts of it. The concepts that we are a race that discovered an alien concept, and we made, mechas out of it, but they're not even nearly as strong as the actual Mars ones, because the Mars ones come to Earth in many parts of later on the show, and they're 10 times more advanced. But it makes sense if you think about it, because logically, they're the ones who made these things originally. So, of course, they're going to be better and stronger and have, better tactical skills and better equipment than us versions, which our versions are based off of just what we found. I think that's cool. I actually love that about the show. I love the animation about the show. One of the strongest points of this is the animation, because I think it's A1 Pictures really, they do some great stuff, and this is one of the examples of a great show because it does some really nice 3D work, 2D art. It does a lot of nice stuff with it. And overall, the soundtrack is stellar for this. Aldnoah Zero has a great soundtrack. Some of the songs I can listen to outside of the anime over and over again. Even the dub and, both Japanese dub and the actual English dub are awesome. They're really well done, and I can watch it either way. I've seen both of them. I've seen the English dub and the Japanese dub for this, so I could watch it between both and switch it back and forth and have no issue with that. But here's my biggest issue with it, is I think it comes from one particular character, Inoue. Now, if my Persona review came out, my Persona 3 review came out, Inoue as a main character reminds me of Makoto Yuki from Persona 3, the actual movies, where he's very quiet, stoic, calculating, which, don't get me wrong, is not a bad thing about a character. I like characters that are very smart and don't do everything by the usual typical tropes that they're associated with. But this is one case where I actually think it was not a good idea to have Inoue as a main character like that, because he is the one that the show focuses on the most at most points of the show. Like, don't get me wrong, Princess is involved, Selene is another main character because you get to see it from his side, because even though he's an Earthling, technically he's raised on Mars, so they treat him like dirt essentially on Mars. But you get these kind of three different perspectives, but Inoue is the one that takes the cake as the majority of it. He's the majority screen time runner, and he is annoying as shit because of his stoicism and his just overall like lack of expressionism. It's baffling why even the English dub, they go with the Japanese dub, same thing, in that they keep him so stoic and monotone, and everything he says and everything he does is like, it's just boring to watch. And again, he's the main character. So to me, I started pushing this show off because honestly, I hate Inoue. He is probably, if I'm going to do a top 10 of most hated characters, he's going to be on that top 10. I'll be honest with you guys and girls. I know that sounds crazy. You know, you might not have problems with them here and there, and I'd love to hear in the comments below if you do have problems with them, because I'm very curious if I'm alone on this. But he is one of my top hated characters of all anime. Like, seriously, I dislike this character so much. And it's just that it annoyed the crap out of me, to the point that it reduces the score so much. And I'll be honest with you, like, again, I'm trying to keep it unbiased, of course. Aldnoah Zero also does many things wrong in terms of pacing. It feels sometimes that, from a story perspective, a lot of stuff has rushed elements, and then a lot of stuff has really slow elements that I felt like it's all over the place. Like, it doesn't know when to actually go and speed up and go decrease. It just always goes in this kind of flip-flop between the two. That's why if I had to review it between an A through F, of course, I'd have to give it a solid C+. Now, is that a bad thing for a mecha show? No, definitely go check this out because you might like it. The animation's stellar, the soundtrack's awesome, voice acting wise for all the characters except for Inoue is awesome. I mean, Inoue actually is a decent voice actor. I'm just saying that the way they have him as a character designed wise, it annoys the crap out of me because of how he talks and how his stoic expressionism it shows on screen. But it's one of those shows that I felt I could not get hooked on. And as my friend Memory in Case of for mentioning him, by the way, I'm going to put his channel in the description box below. You know, he was laughing because, you know, the concept of the last episode is a big cliffhanger. And actually, the reason why I even gave it a C+ is because the last episode was so awesome. But imagine, and he says, imagine if the actual last episode was when it aired and you had to wait several months for the next season to come out. I would have been pissed off, personally. But because it's not that case where now I could just go watch second season without an issue, I'm a little less pissed off with it because I actually kind of like the way it does it, and I kind of like the pacing of that part. But, you know, there are issues with the show. It's not perfect, but there's plenty of reason to definitely go check it out at least. It's not a long series. It's 24 episodes. Each season is about 12 episodes long. And so, I mean, it's worth it to watch at least once. Is it going to be your favorite mecha? I doubt that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone say this is their favorite mecha. I've never seen that, but you never know. Some people might love it, and some people might hate it, like anything else. I'm in the middle ground with it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's just average. I think it does things right. It does things wrong. It's just average. Anyways, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video. You know the whole nine. Until it pass across again in the next review, have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.